belt around your neck there. Did you just earn that tonight?
Yeah, well, it's been the last 10 years. I've been training under Matt, doing jiu-jitsu since 2010. So yeah, I just earned my black belt. I was hoping to get it next week at our belt ceremony, but I think today was a good day to get it instead. So, I'm happy to get it a week early, a day before my birthday, so I can say I got it when I was 30 instead of 31. So yeah, it's a great day. It was, the cherry on top.
Yeah, were you surprised you didn't finish him with the anaconda early?
Yeah, a little bit. Honestly, when I rolled through, I felt his arm go all the way over. That's jiu-jitsu. You got to make a couple adjustments sometimes. But I'm experienced enough to know that when it wasn't in, I was able to get a dominant position off there. And I knew I was going to be, I had a dominant position. I like a fight, man. I wanted to bust him up. I wanted to hit him a little bit. So I'm happy with how it went instead of finishing then.
Yeah, that was one of the more lopsided fights we've seen in a long time. When you're in there, and it just seems like everything going perfect. Like, what do you think here? You're like, this is almost going too great for me right now?
Well, at the time, it feels like I'm winning and dominating, but I was starting to get a little tired too, and it's like, what do I got to do to this guy? I'm punching him and elbowing him, and he's turning and flipping and flopping, and I went for a few different submissions, and at one point I'm like, man, I took a big deep breath. I'm like, what's it going to take to take this guy out? But I knew just consistent pressure. I knew I'd get it done, but it was a lot harder than I wanted it to be.
What do you feel more proud about right now? That belt, or just getting that win?
Man, it's crazy. So when I first moved to Tampa, I started training under Matt Arroyo. I always write down all my goals, and I write down long-term goals, early goals, and two of my long-term goals: UFC debut and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I started off as a white belt. 0-1 as an amateur fighter. So for them both to meet at the same, pretty much the same exact time, it's crazy. I don't know what feels better. It's just an all-around great day. I don't think it really hit me yet that my UFC debut's done with. I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu. It's just an amazing feeling.
How are the fabled octagon jitters?
No, I was just excited to be in there. I honestly, I didn't really think about it as much. I just knew, I got in that cage. It felt like just another fight. I looked at my opponent. I knew we were about to, I was about to get punched in the face, and I knew it was going to be an old-fashioned fist fight. So I didn't really feel it as much. The crowd, I felt like the crowd gave me a nice bump. It was loud. It was kind of surreal seeing Quarantillo up there, in this big stadium, this arena, whatever. I didn't really feel too many jitters though. I think, I was able to handle it pretty well.
How do you go back? How do you go back? You lost your first amateur fight, but
yeah.
You just got a victory in the UFC.
Yeah.
Did you think of that amateur fight that you took that loss? You're like, oh, I can still do this, or like?
Yeah. So that amateur loss was in 2010, and I was only training for about a month and a half. So I didn't really, I fought a guy who was 4-0. I don't know if I even deserved to be there, and it was a split decision. And I think about every single one of my losses. I've had a couple amateur losses, my 2 pro losses, and of course the Ultimate Fighter loss. So I can name all those ones, but I can't name all the wins. So they're obviously way more important than the wins. But this one was a big one. I'll remember this one forever.
Billy, you mentioned you're already in conference, so obviously you want to build one today. You got the next one in mind already?
Yeah. After I got the contract of the Contender Series, I feel like a lot of people, their goal is to get into the UFC, but I feel like one of my goals were to get into the UFC. But now that I'm here, I wouldn't be happy if I got in the UFC. Imagine if I got in the UFC and went 0-3 and got cut. So I look at that as like the next book or like the next chapter. And now there's like a whole new, I had to get to this one to get to those next ones. So now I got to start climbing that ladder. I just want to put on exciting fights. I want to have a handful of exciting fights first, start climbing that rank, start climbing the ladder, get a ranking within the next couple of years, and then start chasing that world championship. And that's always what it's been about, is, being the best in the world.
Now that you have this victory, is your training, is your life going to change now? Are you going to go more energy into this? I don't know if you have other jobs or anything like that.
Yeah, there's some other things. I actually have my real estate license that I got when I was injured, and I haven't used it at all. So I'm probably not going to use it for another while now. I teach a lot of private lessons and do a lot of classes, so I'm always on the mat. I'm going to tone down those a little bit, but I don't mind doing it. I like teaching other people. I like teaching the younger amateur fighters, and I think everything's just going to get bigger and better. I'm going to stick with the people that were with me from the beginning. The coaches that you saw have been with me since day one. Matt Arroyo, Crew Dan Rawlings, my brother. You can look back for the last few years, and it's always the same group of people. So that's going to stay the same for sure. I think I just did more of everything. After the Contender Series, I know what it takes to be here. On the Ultimate Fighter, I trained with a ton of guys in the UFC. I see their work ethic. I know what it takes to train at that high level. I try to do everything like a professional. So this training camp was a little bit longer than I anticipated because I fought at the end of July and I didn't know when my fight was going to be. So I just stayed ready. I do sprints. I train 6 days a week. So I think just that consistent, not taking very much time off and just keep working and keep getting better. I think that, led to today's victory. Oh, we're gonna party tonight for sure. Usually when I get banged up, if I get too banged up when I fight, I usually can't stay out too late, but I feel good, and so we'll see. You guys might see me out in DC later tonight. My coach will try to keep me under control, so we'll see tonight. It's my birthday tomorrow too, and I haven't drank in a few months, so I'm gonna be a lightweight. I'll probably have a couple of drinks, and we'll see what happens.
Oh yeah, what was your walkout song?
Okay, so my walkout song, I thought I was going to fight a guy from England. So I grew up, me and my brother Austin, we grew up watching fake wrestling. So Shawn Michaels was our boy. But I thought it was going to be, I was fighting a guy from England. I'm American. I wanted to come out to like an American song, Love Hulk Hogan. So I came out to American Hero, but with, Hulk Hogan's walkout song, like I am a real, and then they told me that my opponent from England was out of the fight. I'm like, you know what, let's keep it. I love that song anyway. Gets people going. People were fired up, and I loved it. Yeah. Anyone else? Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. I'll see you guys back again soon.